Mo, let's kick it off with one of your favorite bets for NFL Week 16. Bengals at Steelers. Cincinnati down to a 1.5, 2-point road favorite. It was sitting around 2.5 earlier in the week. Total of 37. Mason Rudolph in for Mitch Trubisky at quarterback for the Steelers. And on the positive front for Pittsburgh, injury-wise, Cam Hayward, their defensive lineman, out of concussion protocol. But on the downside, neither of the Steelers safeties will be in, including Minkah Fitzpatrick. So how are you handicapping one of two Saturday games in the NFL?
I like the Steelers. Did not know how much I was going to really like the Steelers until I started looking around at the numbers today and the injuries. And yeah, just thinking back a few weeks ago, you have a spot where the Steelers were road favorites in Cincinnati. I mean, I had the other side of that game, and that did not go well at all for Cincinnati. I was a little bit early on the Jake Browning bandwagon, unfortunately. But yeah, the Bengals, I mean, they got dominated in that game. I mean, I think the final was 16-10, but the final score does not honestly do it justice. The Steelers were a much better team in that game. And you have a Steelers team that last week was favored, or at least around a pick in some spots coming into this game. And then, yeah, obviously they embarrassed themselves versus the Colts. And now changing to Mason Rudolph, like you said. Looking back at that previous matchup, I mean, they had a lot of success up front against the Bengals. Did sack Jake Browning 4 times. He was under quite a bit of heat in that game. I watched a good amount of that because, like I said, I did have the Bengals and did not have much hope for a comeback there. They were seeming pretty outclassed in that game, to be honest. I know Browning's been playing much better, and man, I listened to some shows and read some articles about Browning. Really impressed with what he's been doing and what the Bengals offense in general has been doing. But it's a tough spot here without their best player, Jamar Chase. And then on the other side of the ball, one of their more important players as well, DJ Reader, he is a pretty key run stuffer for them to a defense that really, I mean, has been so bad. They can't afford really to lose anything, you know, and they're losing a key piece. I mean, the Vikings pretty much dominated them on that side of the ball, 6.3 yards per play, outgained them overall. I also like that TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, multiple weeks removed from their injuries at this point. Hopefully they can play a little better. They got crushed up front by the Colts last week. It was pretty embarrassing. Just down the stretch of that game, some of those drives were hard to watch. I mean, it looked like college football, honestly. Just like knowing the other team is running straight and not being able to stop it is college stuff. So I would hope the Steelers regrouping and going to bring a better effort this week. Their offense obviously is a big question mark against this Bengals defense that has we've kind of dumped on it all year, and rightfully so. You just look at the numbers, bottom of the barrel pretty much in yards per play. I'm not sure if anybody's been worse than them. At times when I watch the Steelers, I think their pass protection can struggle in must-pass situations. I feel like they just like allow a lot of maybe it's the communication's not the best, or maybe the linemen just aren't as good in like true pass sets, as they say. But I don't know if they're going to have that many of these in this game, man. I mean, if they can just pound the rock, this Bengals defense is so vulnerable there, and we have seen the Steelers play very well in the run blocking game at a lot of times this year, and this is a spot where they should. And then even on the outside, I mean, you have injuries to the Bengals DBs. You have DBs that you and I don't really believe in. And you have a talented group of pass catchers for the Steelers. So as long as these wide receivers aren't like in full mutiny, I know they've had some locker room issues there. But, I mean, these are the times where Mike Tomlin is supposed to shine, right? This is when he's supposed to do his best work. You know, get the band back together and get things rolling in the right direction. I really do feel like this line should be a pick 'em. I don't think the Steelers should be giving points in this spot at home. So another thing, you know, our boss Steven, we already mentioned him. He fired the over. He got a bad number at 38. It's down to 37. I kind of like his side, though, man. These Bengals games are all flying over. They can't stop anybody. So I'm kind of feeling maybe an over there, too, if people want to bet that one as well.
All right, a couple bets potentially for you in this game. I'll probably wind up on Pittsburgh, too, or at least I agree with you for the most part on the side. You brought up two really key points. A, if you flip home field advantage from the last time these two teams met, we were both on Pittsburgh or Cincinnati in that game. So I was with you losing on the Bengals as short home dogs. But if you flip it, and I know Pittsburgh has key injuries, especially in their secondary, the line would have been Steelers -5 at home. So like you said, a pick is probably fair just when you consider the spot for Pittsburgh coming off back-to-back losses and a bad loss in Indianapolis after being up double digits, albeit the injury sustained midway through the game. Pittsburgh also, like you said too, should be able to rely on their ground game against a very poor run defense. Reader, I don't think you stressed it enough how vital he is for this Bengals run defense. And even with him this season overall, they ranked 26th in EPA per carry allowed. And one of the best run-stopping tackles, one of the best nose tackles really in the NFL. I think Pittsburgh, even with Harris still being pretty inefficient on the ground, should be able to exploit and control the clock a bit. I don't know how much I trust the Bengals offense, even though, like you said, Browning's helped them win 3 straight games, 2 of those coming in overtime. So 2 coin flips essentially, and you probably don't win in Jacksonville if Lawrence doesn't get hurt in the fourth quarter. So at the very least, I'm with you. Even if I don't get there with an official bet, I definitely think if you're going to play this game, Pittsburgh is the side.